While the whole world races to download the next update, there is a quiet group of people who still feel a small pull in the other direction. They hear a dial-up screech in a movie, and their chest does something they cannot explain. They smell a particular plastic, a video rental store, a Saturday morning, and for 1 second they are 9 years old again. People call them nostalgic, stuck, a little slow to let go of things. But what if that pull backward is not you failing to grow up? What if it is the signature of the only generation that grew up twice? Stay with me. Because here is what almost nobody says about people who grew up in the 1990s. You are not immature. You are not living in the past. You are the bridge generation. You came of age standing on a bridge between two entire worlds while it was still being built under your feet. 1 foot on the analog shore, 1 foot on the digital one. And today we are going to look at what that strange place did to your mind. Think about the things that actually get you. It is almost never the big stuff. It is small, the exact weight of a portable CD player in your jacket pocket. The way you had to rewind a tape all the way before you returned it. A landline ringing in another room. The 4 little notes of a computer starting up. You can lose a whole afternoon to a single one of these. And it confuses you a little, because objectively none of it was even that good. A single image took 5 minutes to load. You memorized phone numbers because you had no choice. You waited a week to find out what happened next on a show. So why does your body react like it lost something real? There is a reason these particular memories run so deep, and it is not just that you are getting older. Psychologists have a name for it. The reminiscence bump. The years between roughly 10 and 25 get encoded more vividly than any other stretch of your life. It is the window where you are figuring out who you are, so the brain saves everything in high resolution and keeps it. For most people, that window lands on an ordinary slice of history. For you, it landed directly on the single biggest technological shift in modern human life. So your most formative years are stamped, permanently, with a world that no longer exists. That is not a small thing to carry. That is your identity, recorded onto a format the world stopped playing. But here is where it gets interesting. It is not just that you remember the 90s fondly. It is that the 90s wired you. There is an old idea in sociology, going back to a thinker named Karl Mannheim, that the events you live through in your teens do not simply sit in your memory like photographs. They shape an entire generation's way of seeing the world. Whatever the world happens to be doing while you come of age quietly becomes your definition of normal. And your normal was a moving target. You started childhood with a phone bolted to the kitchen wall, a cord you stretched around the corner for privacy. You ended your teens with the entire internet humming in your bedroom. Your brain, at its most plastic, its most hungry, had to learn 2 completely different operating systems for how to be a person. One where information was scarce and slow, and you had to go find it. One where information was infinite and loud, and it came looking for you. Most generations only get handed one world. You got the handoff itself. You were standing right on the seam when it tore. And this is the part that explains everything. Back in 2001, a writer named Mark Prensky split the modern world into 2 kinds of people. Digital natives, the kids born straight into screens, fluent in technology the way you are fluent in your mother tongue. And digital immigrants, the adults who came to it late in life and always kept a kind of accent, always a half-second of hesitation, always slightly translating in their head. You are neither one. You are the in-between. You remember the analog world clearly enough to still be fluent in it. The patience, the boredom that had absolutely nowhere to go. The way you had to be completely present in one place because there was no second screen to slip away into. And then you picked up the digital world early enough, young enough, that it never felt foreign to you either. You learned its grammar while your brain was still soft. You are bilingual in a way nobody before you ever was, and honestly, in a way nobody after you ever will be. Sit with what that actually means. You know what it feels like to wait for something you wanted, to save up for it. To not be able to check, refresh, skip ahead. And you also know exactly how to move at the speed of now, how to find anything in 3 seconds, how to live half your life inside a glowing rectangle. You can sit in a silent room and not reach for your phone because you spent years that way. And you can also build a whole world inside that phone because you learned that young too. You hold both. Most people only ever got to hold one. Does that not ring a little true? There is a specific flavor to it. You can feel mildly annoyed at a web page that takes 4 seconds to load, and in the same breath remember waiting 4 entire minutes for a single song to finish downloading, one bar at a time, praying nobody picked up the phone and killed the connection. Both of those live in you at once, the impatience and the patience. That is not confusion. That is range. And it shows up in how you move through the world right now, in ways you probably never connected to any of this. You are the one who still feels a little wrong reading a book on a screen, even though you have 100 of them on your phone. You go quiet when a group of younger people cannot sit through a 5-minute video without checking something else, because you remember sitting through a 2-hour movie with no pause button and no other option, and somehow surviving it. You can still entertain yourself with nothing. A long drive, a waiting room, a power cut. You learned how to be alone in your own head before that became a rare skill instead of a Tuesday. But you are also not the person standing outside the digital world, confused by it. You adopted it. You shaped it. You were online before being online was the default, back when it felt like a secret place you visited and then left. You know it is a place you can leave. That single piece of knowledge, that the screen has an off switch and the world keeps going without you, might be the most valuable thing your strange childhood gave you. Most people coming up now were never taught that the off switch exists. So then why does it ache? If all of this is secretly a strength, why does that startup sound still make you a little sad? For a long time, psychologists treated nostalgia like a kind of sickness, a sign you were avoiding the present, hiding inside a softer edited version of the past. But over the last couple of decades, researchers, with a lot of the key work coming out of the University of Southampton, found almost the exact opposite was true. Nostalgia is not escape. It is maintenance. When you reach back for that Saturday morning, your brain is doing something genuinely useful. It is reminding you who you are. It is anchoring your sense of self when the present feels fast and unstable and a little hollow. It even softens loneliness, because the memory does not come back empty. It comes loaded with people, with belonging, with a version of you that felt whole. Nostalgia is how the mind goes home for a minute, touches the wall, and then comes back a little steadier. So that pull you keep feeling. It is not you being stuck. It is you checking that the thread is still connected, reaching back to make sure the bridge is still there. So let me say the thing you maybe needed to hear today. There is nothing immature about you. You did not fail to grow up. You grew up on a bridge, and bridges are strange places to come from. One side is a world of waiting, of presence, of things you could actually hold in your hands. The other side is a world of speed, of access, of everything everywhere all at once. And you, somehow, learned to live fluently on both. You are the only people who can honestly say they remember standing on each shore. And that ache you carry, the one for mixtapes and dial tones and afternoons that only ended when the streetlights flickered on, that is not weakness. It is the memory of a way of being human that the world is quietly forgetting how to do. How to be bored, how to wait for something, how to be fully somewhere with no exit in your pocket. You are not living in the past. You are carrying it forward because somebody has to remember how it felt to be a person before the screen learned your name. You are not stuck on the bridge. You are the bridge, and one day the rest of us are going to need you to remember what was on the other side. So here's what I actually want from you. In the comments, tell me the 190s thing that still gets you. Not the obvious, the small one. The sound, the object, the exact afternoon your body still remembers without permission. I read every single one of these because I think we all quietly need to know we are not the only ones who feel it. And if this one landed, you will want the video on people who grew up in the 1980s next. That bridge has more than one lane. You stood on the seam between two entire worlds, fluent in both. Do not let anyone tell you that is the same thing as being stuck. Subscribe to keep decoding yourself, and I'll see you in the next one.